The gentleman at the back, can you please try to move forward as we can start the program? We'll start first by apologizing most sincerely for starting behind schedule. We were trying in our own way to wait for one of our guests whose flight was rescheduled. But nevertheless, we'll start our apologies sincerely one more time. We want to recognize and celebrate all of you who have made our time to be a part of this event. This is the Bar Week of the Nigerian Bar Association, Eket branch. It has always been a colorful event, a brilliant program, and it's always loaded. This year promises not to be any different. We will be learning, we will be having meaningful interactions and meaningful engagements. A little touch of difference for this year is that we are not just learning. Our learning in the course of interacting will count for points in the continuous professional development, which is now mandatory for every lawyer. Once more, we thank you. Please, I would like you to please put your hands together as I introduce some of our very important guests who have chosen and elected to grace this occasion today. Thank you for honoring us. First, please put your hands together and appreciate my Lord, the Honorable Justice Itan Baba from the Court of Appeal. Welcome. Please let's put our hands together. You're welcome. We have with us the Honorable Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice of Akwa Ibom State. Please put your hands together and celebrate him. He's here with us. We welcome you. We also have with us my Lord, who has been a friend of Eket for long, sat in Eket before he moved somewhere else, still within Akwa Ibom State. My Lord Justice Charles Eket, you're welcome, sir. My Lord, it's been a minute. We also have with us, may I apologize in advance if I do not do it in order. I'll shift the blame to the person who wrote this. But nevertheless, we also have with us the Lord Honorable Justice Teresa Obod. You're welcome. We have with us also my Lord Honorable Justice Eno Isangenigi. You're welcome, my Lord. Justice Okonokon. Please put your hands together and welcome him. We have with us also the Lord Honorable Justice Anega Iton. Please, you're welcome. Please put your hands together. He's here with us. Thank you and thank you. We also have with us the Lord Honorable Justice Effiong. You're welcome, sir. Please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. We have with us today a senior advocate of Nigeria, Are Olumiwa Akimper. You're welcome. Welcome. We have with us also Oyekansola Badijo SAN. You're welcome. You're welcome. Oh, at the nick of time, just wait wherever you are. Please, we also have with us here the Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Justice, Mrs. Yvonne Edemeko. Please put your hands together. Thank you for coming. Thank you for honoring us. And then we'll continue from there. Thank you for your time and thank you. Please.
Try for the prayer. So sorry. Almighty God, our Creator, we pray you to be with us in all our deliberations and to direct our endeavors so that we can continue in all humility to glorify thy name and do that which is right and just for our profession, its members, our fellow men, and our country. Amen. Amen.
Before we move on to the next item, please, I want to invite and welcome the former chairman of Uyuba, who is going to be doing this with me, Augustine Enefia Udo Esquire. Please, so that he can compare, we'll clap for him, please. Otherwise, his voice might not be loud. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, my brother. My lords, the first vice president of the NBA, elders of our bar, the Honorable Attorney General, very distinguished guests and jurists. We all know that one of the finest traditions of the bar is to organize a bar week where content that builds professional innovation and creativity is brought to bear, year in, year out. And that is why we are here. Thank you, Mrs. B, for making it Absinare, Kimboro. That journey is far, but that shows passion, that shows love, that shows unity and purpose for God. You're so much welcome. Thank you, my lords. Permit me to introduce the next item on the agenda, which is to invite the chairman of the planning committee of this year's Bar Week, Eket Bar Week. By the way, Eket Bar Week was christened as the flagship bar. I think, Mr. Bitu, am I correct to let you know? That is the flagship bar. So some of the doings that are here were instrumental to that. So to take this item is the chairman of the Bar Week Planning Committee, who can come and give his address. Please, a round of applause for the chairman of the Bar Week Planning Committee to come and give his address, please. So that he will not make an application to my Lord Society for country. Doctor, you're welcome. Please, a round of applause for the chairman once again.
The president of the Nigerian Bar Association, represented by the first vice, Celestia Esquire, my lord, the judges here present, the Attorney General, Commissioner for Justice of Federal State. Please permit me to stand on this protocol. It is with great joy and pleasure that I and members of the Planning Committee of the Bar Week 2025 of the Nigerian Bar Association branch welcome all our guests to this august and effort-making event. As you all know, the Nigerian Bar Association Eket is the flagship branch of the NBA in our home states. And this branch has been in the forefront of protecting and promoting the rule of law in Nigeria. The NBA has over the years been championing the independence of the judiciary, protecting the fundamental rights of citizens. And for us here within the NBA case, we have done that within our catchment local government areas and beyond. My lords, the president, this year's theme of our Bar Week is justice and governance beyond rhetoric, the real and the true mandates of the bar. This topic is of crucial importance, considering the role of the Nigerian Bar Association with regards to issues of administration of justice, governance, well-being of citizens, security of lives and property, and fairness and equity. This theme, as most of us know, have been trending online on various social media platforms and has been agitating the minds of so many people, both the citizens of Nigeria diaspora, and Nigerians in diaspora, and foreigners alike. Our view is that the situation of the present-day Nigeria, the real thing, is not palatable and requires citizens with deep intellectual and analytical mindset to untangle the political, social, and economic quagmire and then prefer a workable solution. And the core areas of administration of justice and good governance as a yardstick to solve our country's present-day problem. And this is where the keynote speaker and our analysts, bracket discusser, becomes cardinal in dissecting the narratives, directing, working on the hypothesis, and arriving at the practical, workable conclusions that will help Nigeria move out of the present predicament. We know that the keynote speaker has the requisite experience and academic wherewithal, being a senior advocate of Nigeria, and having served the Lagos State government in diverse capacities. We also know that our other speakers and chairman of association has also served the Nigerian Bar Association in various capacities, and thus have the wherewithal to do justice to this team. We also know and can attest to the versatility in the practice of law, administration of justice, and policy-making capacity of the speakers and discussants. I thus wish to sincerely thank our guests and everyone that has made this year's Bar Week a success. MBA Eket will continue to be ahead in advocacy for justice and good governance. Let me use the opportunity to thank members of my committee for their sacrifices in ensuring that this bar will come to fruition. And let me also thank the chairman of the branch, my good friend and brother, Peter Imaban Esquire, for his support and in ensuring that this branch moves to the next level. We thank our members, the members of the Nigerian Bar Association Eket branch, for standing with us, for being steadfast, and for always being committed when it comes to the issue of our branch. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome everyone to this August event, and let me welcome all of us to this beautiful city of Eket. Enjoy your stay and enjoy the ambience of the city of Eket. Thank you very much. And God bless you all. Thank you.
Of the Public Committee of Eket 2025, they have set the tone. Of course, that tone is well received. It is part and parcel of their business to bring to fore those elements that make Bar Week interesting. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda will be the presentation of the welcome address by the chairman of the branch, Mr. Peter Imaban. But before he does that, may I seek your leave to mention and recognize a few persons that have come to join us in this event. The chairman of the NBA new branch and members of his EXCO here, Mr. Imer Mofia Esquire, chairman of the old branch, member of the EXCO, the Vice Chairman, Imo Udo Esquire is here, Publicity Secretary, Mayor Aaron is here, the Financial Secretary, Mayor Eket, Ms. Uboyo, the Social Secretary, Michael Soro, the co-opted member, Treasurer Oke, and Emmanuel Roy, the YLM chairman. They are all here as part of the chairman's entourage. Please a round of applause for them. Chairman of the NBA branch, Ikara, who just recently did his first Bar Week, is also here. I'm sure he has come to the team as well. Okay, please can they all rise and be recognized? Thank you very much. Oran branch is one of our darling sister branches, and they are doing very well. This to be called the first citizen of the state. As a matter of fact, one of my darling brothers who has always been very inspirational in everything he has done. He has been the past Speaker of the Kwara State House of Assembly, past member representing the federal constituency of Eket, if I'm not mistaken. Right, Honorable Onofio, member of the body of benchers, is in the house. You're welcome. Of course, okay is okay in the house. The Secretary of Studio, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Without further ado, may I have respectfully the chairman of the Eket Bar, the host chairman of this bar. Please, it is time to listen to his welcome address. Mr. Peter Eket. Please, you can do better for your host. You're welcome.
Beloved Honorable Justice Ita Baba, Presiding Justice of the Court of Appeal retired, OFR, the chairman of this occasion, the learned Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice of Akwa Ibom State, and our dear-in-law, the Lord, I use the Lord Honorable Justice Charles Ipe as a point of contact to recognize all the judges here present. The President of the Nigerian Bar Association, Mazi Afam Osigwe, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, ably represented by the first National Vice President, Sebastian Anya. Let us Senior Advocates of Nigeria here present. Your Worships, may I at this point rely on the protocol already established by my learned friends, Yinka and Yaya. I want to first apologize for all the shortcomings we've experienced since we got down here. First, we started late. Secondly, we are running a soft copy for now. We're expecting the hard copy in the next couple of minutes. I take absolute responsibility for all these shortcomings. I want to very specially welcome you once again. My address is very brief. On behalf of the executive members of this noble branch, it gives me great pleasure to warmly welcome you to this year's Law Week celebration of the Nigerian Bar Association Eket branch, popularly known as the flagship branch. This annual gathering provides us with a unique opportunity to reflect on the ideals of our noble profession, which are justice, integrity, and service to humanity. It is a time to examine contemporary legal issues, to exchange ideas, and to reaffirm our collective commitment to the rule of law and the advancements of our society. The theme of this year's Law Week, justice and governance beyond rhetoric, the true mandate of the bar, could not have been more timely. It challenges us to go beyond mere words and to ensuring that justice and governance are not only proclaimed, but practiced and are seen and felt by all, and that justice is accessible, fair, and effective for all. We are honored to have you, very eminent jurists, and our guest. We are honored to have you, eminent personalities, eminent scholars, seasoned practitioners, who have graciously accepted to share your knowledge and experiences with us. Your presence today inspires us and adds great value to this event. Permit me to commend the Law Week Planning Committee, headed by my good friend, Chief Emmanuel Ogbo, PhD, for their diligence and creativity in putting together a rich and thought-provoking program. Your efforts embody the spirit of teamwork and professional excellence. To our sponsors, to our guests and colleagues, we say thank you for your unwavering support. To our students and young lawyers, we encourage you to take full advantage of this week. Listen, learn, and let this experience strengthen your passion for justice and ethical practice. Once again, on behalf of the executive and members of the Nigerian Bar Association, Eket, I warmly welcome you, wish you a fruitful and engaging and memorable law week. Thank you so much.
A round of applause for the chairman of the Eket Bar. Very, very interesting comments in his address. Thank you very much, Peter, and the chairman of the Eket Bar. We really appreciate it. While the chairman's speech was going on, we received wholeheartedly the presence of one of our illustrious jurists, Honorable Justice Eket, who kind of retired. Anytime we see you, we also want to shake you, get more wisdom from you. Thank you. And he came with that senior. I am informed that the admin judge of the Honorable Justice Pius was in the house. Let me say that I would have been very, very embarrassed if I was not the one to announce his arrival personally. That is my in-law. So he is my in-law, and he was the chairman of my wedding. So if I don't pronounce it very well, I will be in trouble. But I'm very sorry. But you are welcome once again. Thank you very much for this. I also saw the nation of Francis Eket, our lecturer that has produced so many lawyers over the years. You're welcome, sir. I had the privilege of presiding over the Court of Appeal in various jurisdictions over the years. Some of us were privileged to be at his valedictory court session in Asaba, Delta State, the last official place where he presided as the Court of Appeal judge. It might interest you that the compendium of his judgments, the compendium of his submissions and the principles of law that he has set down are nothing but a true library for our collective wisdom. My Lord has written several books as well to continue to grow and enhance wisdom in various spheres. And it is only natural that the leadership of this bar, the planning committee, made him the chairman of this occasion. Those books are still on sale. If you have not gotten yours, I will do you the favor of announcing and listing those books. Buy them. And that is why he's here. He is here because he's not tired to impart wisdom on his younger colleagues. He is here to advance and continue to grow the knowledge of the profession. And that is why he is the chairman of this occasion. And so I am referring by inviting Honorable Justice Ita Mbaba, Judge of the Court of Appeal retired, chairman of this occasion, for his welcome address. Please, a round of applause, and don't be tired to welcome wisdom and knowledge from his people. My Lord, you're welcome. Please continue to clap until you take the microphone from me. My Lord, you're welcome.
Thank you. Please sit down. My Lords, judges of Bible State Judiciary, and I want to thank you for coming out in good number to honor this ceremony. The learned Attorney General of Bible State, the representative of the National President, Afam Sukure, and learned senior lawyers, please permit me to adopt the protocol earlier enunciated. I want to thank you for coming for this program. I also want to use this time to thank the Eket for inviting me to be part of this program. I'm a retired person, but you don't want me to retire. I look forward to occasions like this. Thank you very, very much. And you have made me to come and see so many persons I've missed quite a while. I was the administrative judge of Eket Division about 17 years ago. And coming here, I've seen so many. They were young lawyers then, but now they are big folks. I'm happy to be back home to meet with all of you. And we thank God for this annual ritual. And I pray this year's own will impact the lawyers and the society, especially with the theme you have adopted, justice and governance beyond rhetorics, the true mandate of the bar. I pray we'll go beyond rhetorics. I pray in the course of the program will truly examine justice, whether it is being served. We'll also examine governance, whether it is being served or whether it's still in the realms of rhetorics. Personally, I feel highly disturbed by the day about what is happening in our nation. And I fear that it appears some fellows have just emerged from the blues to capture power. And subject the race of the citizens into languishing in complaints, suffering, and our leaders, maybe they are trying their best, but there are fears. I pray that as we consider the theme, the topic we are sharing today, will drive home the message in the area of justice, in the area of governance, and that we'll begin to reap the fruits of the dividends of democracy. Akwa Ibom is really blessed, really lucky in many respects, because I believe we are enjoying some good life and some happy hours. I pray we'll enjoy more. But before I hand over this mic, I want to call attention of lawyers. And when I say lawyers, judicial officers are inclusive, because it is the bar that gave birth to the bench. I think posterity will judge us unkindly. Tomorrow, when they remember today, many of us will be endangered species. Because it appears to me the bulk of the problems of this nation is caused by lawyers and by the judiciary. Because we've not been bold enough to face reality and to pronounce decisions that could make an average person in government to fear and to respect the citizens and to respect the judiciary. A lot of times, I think we've conducted ourselves in such a way that they will be boldly saying, go to court. And they will say so with the authority that they're in charge of the court. And nothing will happen. We've seen a lot of impunity all over the place. If the president can declare a state of emergency and sack the governor, sack the deputy governor, sack the the House of Assembly, and nothing happened. And the term was saved. People complain all over the place, nothing happened. Some people ran to court to seek interpretation and pronouncement. It was kept in the shelf. It was after the 6 months that I heard somebody, the case was exhumed. I don't know what cause, what purpose it will serve. So we are in the era that we seem to have allowed this to happen. We are going to make some pronouncements that will make an average politician to be afraid. They will check themselves. And the society will be the better for it. I understand that some learned fellows are here to handle the dog shop. I saw Badejo the other day at the bar conference. His name is I believe he will lead the discussion on this issue. What do we do to save Nigeria? What do we do to cause politicians to be responsible? What do we do to bring succor and help to the citizens? Welcome to the talk shop. May God guide us and help us not to aim at the rhetorics and make impacts. Thank you very much. Forgive me if I've offended you in the process. God bless you.
For the chairman of this occasion, my Lord Honorable Justice Tambama, retired here. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Take some goodwill messages from various persons, partners and friends of Eket Bar. And to start the goodwill message, we will invite the President of the Nigerian Bar Association, who is ably represented by the First Vice, my big brother and friend, Sebastian Anya, to please come and offer the goodwill message of Mr. President at this bar. You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, on this auspicious occasion, judges of our Carbon State Judiciary, permit me to specially recognize Justice Okoluko, former chairman of Eket branch, a man I met as a lawyer. The administrative judge of Eket Judicial Division, project Eket Bar and Bull Bar, chairmen of various branches here present. I'm so sorry. Let me recognize the treasurer of the Nigerian Bar Association here present. We call her the blessing of the bar. May I also recognize, in a very special way, Chief Ebitu. Chief Ebitu is my big brother, former chairman of the Eket branch. We share so many things in common. We also share Asada powers together. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome. I've been asked to give a goodwill message, and it's going to be short. May I then call on all of us, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that for this topic, the time has come for us to speak plainly. Justice and governance in our nation must move beyond grand speeches and eloquent statements. For too long, we have been a country fluent in the language of reform, but almost silent in its practice. We draft policies and host summits. We pass resolutions, but the poor still cry. The innocent still languish in prison, and the powerful still walk in arrogance. The bar must be the conscience that refuses to be scripted. We cannot be mere spectators in the national drama. We are its moral compass. When governance fails from fairness, it is to the bar that the people look for strength. The weak and the calm we adore are not ornaments of privilege, but symbols of duty. We must speak truth where others whisper, and demand accountability where others have been brought into silence. For if the bar sleeps, the bench slumbers, and when both do, justice is in a lifelong corner. We joke that justice in Nigeria travels at the speed of a snail. But the truth is, it only moves as far as our integrity allows. Governance cannot be just when lawyers are timid, nor can justice be sweet when lawyers are complicit. We must therefore reject the comfort of legal technicalities that serve the letter but strangle the spirit. Justice is a heartbeat, and governance is trust. The true mandate of the bar is to keep that heartbeat beating, to keep the trust sacred. It is to remind those in power that authority without accountability is an illusion, and to remind ourselves that advocacy without integrity is a betrayal. In moments of reflection, we must ask, what history calls our generation of lawyers to the witness stand? What will our testimony be? Do we defend justice, or do we merely debate it? Do we advance governance, or do we adorn its failure with impeccable grammars? The answers will not be written in our speeches, but in the lives we touch and the system we refuse to corrupt. Governance beyond rhetoric is not achieved by eloquence, but by practical examples, and justice beyond rhetoric. Yes, justice beyond rhetoric is practiced, not proclaimed. So let the bar rise again, not as a guide of professionals, but as a brotherhood of patrons. let us leave this hall with a conviction in all our hearts that we will not always talk about justice, we will live it. Let it be said of the Nigerian bar that when justice trembled, we stood firm as lawyers. When governors staggered, we spoke the truth. And when history turned its page, we were found on the side of rights, on the side of the people, on the side that stands for truth. We must do that now to put smiles on the faces of Nigerians. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. God bless the Nigerian Bar Association. God bless the MBA Eket branch. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you a meaningful stay.
Speaking to the topic of this marriage. Next on the list of our goodwill messages will be the turn of the administrative judge of Eket Judicial Division. This pious idiom. My Lord, please you're welcome. A round of applause. Please keep clapping for the admin judge for his goodwill message. I know you're welcome.
The guy is trying to pacify me. We will talk about our relationship outside this place. I know the retired but not tired Justice of the Court of Appeal, the Chairman of Occasion, I know the Administrative Judge of Akwa Ibom State, the Administrative Judge of Akwa Ibom State. My Lord, my brother judges, President of the NBA, ably represented, the Chairman of the Eket branch of the NBA, Chairman of brother branches. Let me do like all other Nigerians would do. After saying all that, let me rely on the established protocol. Sorry, please, the Honorable Attorney General is here. Sorry, that was on my side.
You will establish.
Yes, thank you very much. I was just, somebody just came to me and said, a short while ago, about 2 minutes, my Lord will let you give a key, what you call it, goodwill message. He said, it's okay. I think you expected that I would presume that I would give a goodwill message. Otherwise, you would have told me before today. But that you know, I think the president of the NBA was giving notice. And that is why he came with the meeting address. If I was also giving notice, probably I would have come with my own. But my own is a very simple one. Mine is just to welcome you to my judicial division. I am the head of the bar and the judiciary here. They know what I mean. They know what I mean. Because if I do not provide them an accommodation, they will not hold their meetings. So I welcome you, and I hope you have a good stay with us. Let me also congratulate the chairman of NBA, Eket, and his executive members, all the members of the branch. And for those of you who are visiting us, let me tell you how happy I have always been with the Eket branch of the NBA. It's not a flagship branch for nothing. This is a branch you have lawyers who are prepared to work. Those who come to court, they will come to court prepared to do their cases, and we are always happy for this. That is why the last time the CJ visited the
the correctional center here. He commended us that we were working very hard and we were almost leaving nothing for her to do. We couldn't have done that without the support and cooperation of the NBA. I commend you. Let me also thank you for the topic you have chosen today. And I want to say, like the chairman has said, that we should go beyond rhetorics. And when we start to do that, I want us to start from home. Let us start from home. Let us start from the branch of the bar association. Let us start from the court, the mother or the child of the NBA. Because I keep asking myself, if a judge cannot have justice, what quality of justice can he deliver? And I'm hoping that when we have an occasion like this, we should be able to talk, find solutions. How do we also give justice to judges who are seated here? A good number of them cannot have justice. A good number of us do not have justice. So what quality of justice can we give to others? So when we want to talk about this, let us talk about the politicians, let us talk about those who are holding political offices and so on and so forth. But let us also come home. Start from home. Justice must start from home. And that is what I want to encourage us to do here. Yes. Welcome to the beautiful city of Eket. Welcome to the beautiful branch of the Nigerian Bar Association. And I hope at the time we leave here, we will have one or two things positive to take home. I welcome you. Thank you and God bless you.
My father-in-law. You have only said that we will resolve the issues outside. You did not say that I'm not your father-in-law. Please, a round of applause for Honorable Councilor. Thank you very much, Honorable. Next, to give a goodwill message, I would like to invite the chairman of the Law Officers Association of Ibadan State, my friend and brother Otu to inspire. Please come and give the goodwill message on behalf of Loan. Loan is the chairman of the NBA Oyo branch, whose goodwill message will be for on behalf of the other chairmen of the branches.
Thank you, Mr. MC, and my chair emeritus. Honorable Mr. Justice Itambaba, retired but not tired. Honorable Justice Charles Ipe, and all other judges here present, the Honorable Attorney General of Akwa Ibom State, my boss, Leonard Salk, Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary, the President of the NBA here ably represented, the keynote speaker, Honorable Luke, the former Speaker of Akwa Ibom State and former honorable member representing the Eket and Federal Constituency himself, the live bencher. Allow me to stand on the existing protocols. Message of goodwill by the chairman of Loan, Akwa Ibom State chapter, presented on the occasion of the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA Eket Branch 2025 Bar Week. It gives me great pleasure on behalf of the Law Officers Association of Nigeria, Akwa Ibom State chapter, to extend our warm felicitations to the Nigerian Bar Association, Eket Branch, on the occasion of our 2025 Bar Week. This event, themed Justice and Good Governance Beyond Rhetoric, the true mandate of the bar, could not have come at a more fitting time than now. It calls us, as custodians of justice and conscience of the nation, to look beyond mere advocacy and translate our professional ideals into tangible instruments of reform, equity, and institutional integrity. Justice is not an abstract concept. It is the moral and constitutional foundation upon which good governance fulcrums. The bar, being the vanguard of justice, must constantly rise above complacency, partisanship, and rhetoric to champion causes that uphold the rule of law, protect human rights, and strengthen democratic governance. For us in the Law Officers Association of Nigeria alone, particularly those serving within the Ministry of Justice and the outstations, this theme resonates deeply. We daily confront the realities of policy implementation, prosecution, and law reform, areas where justice and governance meet in practical terms. We therefore identify wholly and heartily with this vision of the Eket bar and reaffirm our commitment to working collaboratively with all stakeholders to ensure that justice in our Akwa Ibom State is not only done, but manifestly seen to be done. Let me commend the leadership of the NBA Eket branch for curating such a relevant and thought-provoking team, and for sustaining the intellectual vibrancy and professional fellowship that the bar week represents. On behalf of the law officers in Akwa Ibom State, I wish this year's Eket Bar Week fruitful deliberations and enduring outcomes that will further entrench justice, accountability, and good governance in our society. Thank you, and may the bar continue to shine as the true guardian of justice and the conscience of our nation. Thank you.
I think that speaks to the justification of why we voted for you. I hope you will continue to maintain this high standard in what you are preaching. Thank you very much. Next, may I invite Chairman of the MBOYO branch. The goodwill messages will have to be very brief because I have a mandate from the chairman of the occasion not to exceed 1:30 at this session. So that all we need to do will be wrapped up with that time so that my lords can retire and the other businesses of the day can continue. The chairman of the MBOYO branch to give his goodwill message on behalf of the chairman of other branches, please.
Thank you very much. As chairman of the MBOYO branch, the chairman of the occasion, my Lord, the retired Justice of the Court of Appeal, my Lords, dear President, the Honorable Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Akwa Ibom State, the keynote speaker and former Speaker of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, the learned Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary of Akwa Ibom State, learned South, here present, elders of the bar, fellow branch chairmen, learned seniors, and our colleagues. I am making this presentation in my capacity as chairman, MBOYO branch, on behalf of Eket and Oron and Uyo branches. On behalf of the leadership and members of the Nigerian Bar Association, Uyo, Eket, and Oron branches, I bring warm felicitations to the chairman, officers, and members of the NBA Eket branch on this occasion of the 2025 annual Bar Week. The theme of this year's Bar Week, Justice and Governance Beyond Rhetoric, the true mandate of the bar, is both timely and profound. It challenges us as legal practitioners and custodians of justice to move from mere advocacy in words to demonstrable action in pursuit of justice, equity, and good governance. The true test of the bar's relevance lies not in our eloquence, but in our courage to uphold justice, defend the rule of law, and insist on accountability in governance. Beyond rhetoric, our mandate is to ensure that justice is not only preached, but seen and felt by the ordinary citizen. As brothers and colleagues of other branches in the state, we celebrate with you, NBA Eket branch, on this intellectual and professional engagement, confident that deliberations arrived at this event will further strengthen our collective resolve to build a more just and accountable society. Congratulations once again for organizing this remarkable Bar Week. Thank you, and may the deliberations yield enduring impact. Thank you very much.
Lumiwa Kimboro, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, please. Can you come and give us your representation? Kimboro, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, sir. Yes, please keep clapping for the man that will not bring it back. You're welcome, sir.
My Lord, the Chairman of the occasion, the Chief Justice of the Court of Appeal, my Lord, the Administrative Judge of the Akwa Ibom State Judiciary, my Lords present at this occasion, my Honorable Attorney General of the Attorney General of the Commissioner for Justice of Akwa Ibom State, the Solicitor General of the Ministry of Justice, my President, the President of the NBA, ably represented by the first Vice President, my brother and friend, the Chairman of Eket branch, who graciously invited me for this occasion, the Chairman of various branches of the association in Akwa Ibom State, our magistrates of various courts, senior advocates of Nigeria, they are present, and particularly Paul Kazim, senior advocate of Nigeria, and Sister Audrey, Solar Basket of Nigeria. Chairperson of FIDA, Akwa Ibom State, the state lead of Nigeria Women's Forum and our executive, the chairman of the Law Officers Association, the chairman of the Young Lawyers Forum, gentlemen and ladies of the bar. It's my pleasure to be here with you today. I think in the span of like 3 months, this is my third visit to Akwa Ibom State. And yesterday when I was looking with some of my friends, I shared with them my reason for repeatedly visiting Akwa Ibom State. It came from my experience previously. My first visit about 50 years ago, I came to celebrate with a friend who we both served on the Council of the University of Benin. And I had the benefit of eating the vegetable of Akwa Ibom State. I must confess, it's the best anywhere. It has kept me coming repeatedly and it made it easy for me to honor any invitation from Akwa Ibom State. When I get it, it's an opportunity for me to come and repeat and taste several of your kind corn that I can never forget. I made an application yesterday that for permanent residency, but they gave me condition, which I am evaluating. But I think the condition is still very amenable. It says being part of you, which I think I am already. But if you want to concise it, I think my wife is a very accommodating woman. The topic for today's law week, justice beyond victories, the true mandate of the bar. One of the reasons, apart from the vegetable that I just mentioned, that made me come was because I saw these as the awakening of the bar. This topic is more than apt because it shows that the bar is beginning to realize its role. And I like the topic because it not only raises a poser, but it answers also the poser itself. Justice beyond victories, the true mandate of the bar. I must say that that is the true mandate of the bar. The bar needs to wake up and must wake up to its responsibilities. We have a lot of responsibilities. First, we talk about judiciary, but we are first of all lawyers before we became judges. We talk about our justice system. We talk about confidence in the judiciary. Everything circles around the legal profession. We talk about advocacy. The bar needs to wake up from it's more than just statements. Action. NBA is known for action. Everybody, everywhere I go, people talk about the days of Alawa Kabashono. Are we telling ourselves that that was the last Alawa Kabashono in our midst? There are many Alawa Kabashono, and I'm grateful to Eket branch for bringing out this topic, which will awaken the sleeping spirit of the giant called NBA. I thank you very much for this opportunity to come around here. One, to come and repeat my evergreen experience of vegetables, and also to come and learn, and also come and wake up to the core that we need to go beyond intolerance. We need to be action-packed. The NBA needs to be more focused. The judiciary, we say, it can only be seen, but it can't be hacked. So who speaks for them? Is it only the rhetorics we have to be talking about, or the action? We talk about the less privileged. Our mandate, defending the rule of law. Are we truly doing that? Is it rhetorics we're talking about, or the action? Now it's time for us to wake up. Thank you, Eket, for waking us up. Thank you for bringing this job up now. Thank you, because I know we're not going to leave this place empty handed. I appreciate your invitation, and I'm ever grateful. Thank you very much.
My Lord, may I give you indulgence to appeal for the shortest possible time to invite the Magistrates Association of the Kano State and represented by two magistrates, S9 to please give their brief and good message at this time. It will be unfair not to pause to give credit to the magistrates to please.
I greet everyone here and I beg to please adopt the already established protocols. The theme of this year's Bar Week came at the time that Nigeria and Eket in general, private states, need things like this. It's not enough for us to just be saying who is going to build the cars, who will do this, who will do that. We thank the NBA, Eket Bar, for a period like this. We are saying, Eket and lawyers all over Akwa State, we should not relent in doing justice. We should refuse to be intimidated, and we should refuse to get tired of speaking out for fear of one thing or the other. The Magistrates Association of Nigeria, Akwa State Chapter, hereby facilitates with MBA, Eket Bar, and we wish you a happy deliberation. Thank you.
To introduce the keynote speaker for this event. My Lord the Chairman, distinguished jurists, ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Oyinka Sola Badejo Okunsema, also known as Mrs. B, is a partner at ALP NG & Co, which is Africa Law Practice NG & Co. She is the co-head of its litigation dispute resolution practice. In addition, Mrs. B is an ADR practitioner with considerable experience in domestic and international commercial arbitration, and she represents a broad range of private, corporate, and state clients before trial and appellate court in Nigeria. Mrs. Badejo started her career at Olowin Ajayi and then rose to become a general counsel to the governor of Lagos State, the then Governor Babatunde Raji Fashola SA. Mrs. Badejo is a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, UK, and has served on the executive committee of its national branch. She is an accredited CEDR mediator and a life member of the African Women Lawyers. She is an active member of the Nigerian Bar Association and has held several key memberships from Lagos State Branch and National Committees, including the Assistant Secretary of the NBA Lagos Branch from 2005 to 2007, and Chair of the 2024 Annual General Conference, which was held, Planning Committee, which was held in Lagos, and of course, which received the NBA Presidential Medal of Service. She is also a two-time co-opted member of the NBA NEC from 2002 to date. Mrs. B is as much sought after resource person and is passionate about inclusivity, gender and children's rights, as she is about knowledge, development and mentorship as tools of professional empowerment. Very recently, this amazing lady that I've just referred to was recently conferred with the rank of the highest rank of the Senior Advocate of Nigeria. That was very recent, I think last month, and she was called and she's now a member of the privileges of the bar in Nigeria. I am referring to Mrs. Oyinka Sola Badejo. Please a round of applause for the keynote speaker of today's event. Please a round of applause for her. That is the lady that we call Mrs. B. She will be speaking on the keynote topic of this bar week, which we are ready for us. You're welcome.
It's now afternoon. Good afternoon. Just before I go into protocols, I was sitting down over there and typing furiously away. And Leonard still, Mr. Paul Kazim, the next week said, "Is it what you are going to say up there that you are just typing now?" I said no. So I had intended to rely on established protocols. But every successive speaker was establishing a different set of protocols. So I said, well, I better establish mine and sink or swim with them. So I will assault you with my own protocols. You will tell me whether I've established them properly or not. So the Honorable Attorney General of Akwa Ibom State, starting with the executive, Mr. Okwese Nudom, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, to whom I remain eternally grateful for the role that you played in my enabling to acquire what I needed to be conferred with the rank. Thank you very much. Please, can we clap for him? Thank you very much. It's a large-hearted man to whom I remain grateful. My Lord, the Administrative Judge of the High Court of Akwa Ibom State, my Lord, the Administrative Judge of the Eket Division of the High Court of Akwa Ibom State, and other admin judges here present. My Lord, the Chairman of this occasion, the Honorable Retired Justice of the Court of Appeal, Honorable Justice Itam Baba. Other jurists here present, including members of the Magistracy of Akwa Ibom State, and I must acknowledge the symbolism of the cooperation and synergy between the bar and the bench. I see that everywhere I go. Members of the bench always not just attend bar functions, but they attend with enthusiasm. And we are very grateful to your lordships and to your worships and your honors as so-called in Lagos, because it just shows that jurists don't forget their roots, and not only that, they don't do it maybe as a duty, but as a synergy, and we're very grateful. The president of the NBA, most ably represented by the first vice president of the association, who came in right on cue. I call him a man of sartorial elegance, because he has some certain items in his wardrobe that my husband would like to get his hands on. Mr. Sebastian, I am. Thank you very much. Other national officers, past and present, especially the blessing of the bar, the national treasurer, Mrs. Blessing Dofia Poron. Where are you, Blessing? Okay, there she is. It's a pleasure to be in your jurisdiction. They call her the blessing of the bar, and she is indeed a blessing. Learned brothers, silks, and elders of the bar, Chair of Eket Branch, Mr. Peter Eme, and members of the EXCO, former chairs of Eket Branch, Chief Ipitu Akadiaha and Mrs. Gloria Etim, my brother and sister from another mother, thank you very much. Chairs of Uyo and Oron branches and other branches in Akwa Ibom State here present, and their EXCO members, the chair and members of FIDA Akwa Ibom State, State lead of the NBA Women's Forum Akwa Ibom State, and the branch coordinators, my dear brother, Honorable Onofio Luke, whose tenure in the House of Representatives remains one in which we are immensely proud, because you never shied away from commentary on issues that affect your primary constituency, and we look forward to your contributions this afternoon. Esteemed members of the Eket Bar and other bars in Akwa Ibom State, including the members of Loan, represented here by the chair of the Akwa Ibom chapter, members of the Bold and Friendly Bar, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I thank the NBA Eket branch for the honor of inviting me to be the keynote speaker today. It's a privilege I don't take for granted, especially because I know there are others far more eminent than I to speak on this most auspicious topic, one that goes to the very marrow of our national life, justice and governance, the true mandate of the bar. And I think all the speakers before me have alluded to the fact that this is a national crisis. I don't mean to be dramatic, but the word crisis is not ill-advised, because we all acknowledge that there are serious problems. The issue is what to do about it. It is said that the health of a nation is measured not by the size of its economy, but by the strength of its justice. Permit me also to share a reflection from the Roman philosopher Cicero. He said, "The foundations of justice are that no one shall suffer wrong, and that the public good shall be promoted." Across centuries, civilizations, and societies, that statement has remained the moral DNA of the legal profession. That justice is not merely a courtroom ideal, but the underpinning principle of good governance. Because when justice is weak, governance collapses. Governance fails, the people despair. We see that. When justice fails, governance loses its legitimacy. And when governance loses its legitimacy, the state itself begins to decay. I'm not sure this is strange to any of us. We all see it and feel it in different ways. But the bar, our bar, was created to prevent such collapse. We are not merely interpreters of the law, we are trustees of justice. We are the guardians of the rule of law, and we are the conscience of society. every civilized society rests upon one sacred idea, that the law is supreme and that no one, not even the most powerful, is above it. That is the rule of law. It is the soul of democracy and the boundary between order and chaos. But in our dear country today, the rule of law is more often than not observed in breach. Court orders are ignored, legal procedures are manipulated for political convenience, citizens are detained without due process, institutions designed to protect the law at times, in fact very often, violate it. And what is worse is that we, members of the legal profession, the very custodians of justice, have too often remained silent. The legal profession is not a trade or merely an occupation. It is a trust and a vocation. It is a calling. I believe that is why we are called to the bar. Not admitted, not employed, called. And when we are called to the bar, we are not merely licensed to practice law. We are commissioned to defend society against the ever-present temptations and indeed acts of lawlessness, arbitrariness, and impunity. Justice in its truest sense is not only about the settlement of disputes, it is about the creation of order, fairness, and balance in society. It's about giving every citizen, rich or poor, weak or strong, the assurance that the scales of law will not tilt according to status or influence. Self-help. I cannot count the number of times that clients have told me, don't you think we should go and see the judge? Counsel, what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about this beyond what we've done? We've filed process. We've put our arguments forward. What don't you think we should do? It's not because they know for a fact that the jurist is on the take. No. It's because everybody resorts to help, self-help. Everybody resorts to self-help. Everybody provides their own water. Everybody provides their own electricity. Everybody provides all the things that a working state should provide. And therefore, everybody also wants to help themselves to justice in their own mode of self-help. And at the root of this despicable practice, I'm talking about a citizen, a client, a litigant, immediately moving straight to the point of, can we do something about this beyond what we're doing? At the root of it is the lack of faith in the integrity of the system. And sometimes it's even encouraged or facilitated by ourselves. Good governance, therefore, is not measured by the number of laws we enact, but by the degree to which those laws serve society and the extent to which they are obeyed. So we don't have an absence of laws in Nigeria. It's just the failure of those laws to live up to the expectations of the users. Our law libraries are filled with laws, but our lives are filled. And so the true question before the Nigerian Bar Association is not whether government is failing, it is whether the bar is speaking. There's a troubling silence in the land. A silence in the face of corruption, of constitutional breaches, of public despair. History has never been kind to a silent bar. To be silent, therefore, is to betray our own heritage. It's self-inflicting injury. Because the oath we swore was not only to our clients, but to the Federal Republic of Nigeria itself, to defend the rule of law, even when it is inconvenient. even when it is dangerous. And that is why reference after reference keeps being made to Alawa Kabashon, to Gani Fahimi, and others like them. Because they did not see inconvenience. They did not see danger. They were ready to put themselves in the line of fire to ensure that they defended the rule of law, not once, not every other time, not once in a while, but every single time they showed up. And please, my lords, distinguished colleagues, permit me to speak plainly. The rule of law is routinely violated in our country. Routinely. Yet, we do not always respond with the urgency our profession demands. There are so many painfully familiar examples that it's unnecessary to avail your sensibilities of them. What is more critical in my view is the troubling development that these are no longer isolated aberrations. They are symptoms of a festering condition, a chronic, deeper national illness. The culture of impunity has become habitual. Bad governance has become normalized. And the very architecture of law is being reduced to a facade. And this is where the uncomfortable question lies. Where is the bar? Where are we when the rule of law is being routinely breached, raped, and desecrated? What is it that dulls our willingness to speak? Are we silent because some of us benefit directly or indirectly from the status quo? Or because some of us have friends in high places? Is it because the system that violates the law also rewards those who keep quiet? Do we rationalize our inaction by telling ourselves that some breaches are too political, too entrenched, or beyond our remit? Or is it that we have become so accustomed to bad governance that we no longer feel outrage? If we are honest, we must admit the silence of the bar is part of the problem. When we fail to call out blatant defiance of judicial authority or systemic corruption of the law, society rightly asks, who then will hold the powerful to account? Let's be honest. When lawyers are silent, injustice becomes invisible. When the bar is timid, tyranny becomes bold. When the guardians of the law lose their voice, the nation loses its conscience. We cannot continue to outsource courage to the media, to civil society, or to God. It is well. It is well is a common phrase. Everybody says, after we have complained about God, it is well. As if that it is well is going to miraculously sort out everything. The duty to defend justice belongs first and foremost to us. The wider society, the market woman, the teacher, the artisan, the civil servants, the youth, they look to us, the bar, to speak truth to power, to insist that the Constitution is not a decoration, and that court orders are not suggestions, and that power is still accountable to law. If we fail in this duty, the people will lose faith not only in government, but in justice itself. It's happening already. This is why people resort to self-help. The true mandate of the bar, therefore, is not limited to representing clients. It is to represent justice itself. It's not just to interpret laws, it's to animate justice. And it's not merely to earn fees, it is to preserve freedom. Eternal vigilance, they say, is the price of freedom. Are we being vigilant? Our role, our mandate is not to defend privilege alone, it's to protect the public good. We are the moral compass of governance, the voice that reminds the powerful that authority is a trust, not a throne. we must remember that the rule of law is not a slogan. It's the lifeblood of liberty. Silence in the face of injustice is not neutrality, it is complicity. And every lawyer carries the hopes of the voiceless and the weight of society. That's why we exist. That is why the bar exists, to ensure that justice does not depend on status, wealth, or influence, but on right and reason. And in a time when governance is often reduced to patronage, we must stand as the last line of ethical resistance. The reminder that the law is not a tool of the powerful, but the refuge of the powerless. The bar's mandate is not an adjunct to governance, it is foundational to it. We are the architects of legitimacy, the engineers of accountability, and the interpreters of the nation's conscience. You would argue, that's a very heavy burden, right? Yes, it is a heavy burden. We do carry a heavy burden, heavier than many of us really, truly appreciate. Heavier than many of us actually remind ourselves about. Because the public does not only look to the courts or to the legislature, they look to us to be the voice of accountability, to remind the states of its obligations, to defend the vulnerable amongst us, and to uphold the dignity of the law. They look to us. When we shirk from this responsibility, the void is filled by arbitrariness, resentment, and distrust. Nobody trusts the system. So, we need to remind ourselves of some of these things. We need a call to renewal. Distinguished colleagues, we have been at a moral crossroads for some time. Because all these things that I'm talking about, they are not new things. They have been insidiously creeping into the fabric of our society. They've practically become normalized. Governance is in crisis. Institutions are fragile. The people are weary. We are weary. Except that we can't afford to be. Yet, the hope of renewal lies not only in government, but in the courage of the governed, we, and the integrity of those of us who interpret and defend the law. We are that community. We are the bar. If we fail, and I dare say, we may be failing, the law will become a commodity, justice will become a privilege, and governance will become a theater of impunity. I am being optimistic here by saying will become. Because many will argue, has become. But if we rise, if we return to the moral grandeur of our calling, the bar will once again become what it was meant to be: the conscience of the nation, the guardian of justice, and the foundation of good governance. So, distinguished colleagues, what must we do? To reclaim our true mandate, we must renew our calling, not as mere practitioners, but as guardians of the public trust. We must renew our commitment and reclaim the understanding that the rule of law is not a decorative ideal. It is the machinery by which justice exists. And that our professional mandate transcends clients and fees and briefs. It is the public trust that we must accept when we were called to the bar. And we must remind ourselves over and over again that silence in the face of injustice is not neutrality. We no longer have the opportunity or the privilege of standing by and staying silent. We lost that privilege when we were called to the bar. It is complicity. We cannot stay silent in the face of injustice. That's who we are. Right? Because indeed, if we do not bring these topics to the fore, if we don't discuss them, then we will not remind ourselves of who we ought to be. We must become very, very uncomfortable with what is becoming the norm and never tire of speaking let that discomfort become a spark of a new phase of engagement, of courage, and integrity in our profession. And we can do this, in my humble view, by returning to first principles. 3 commitments which I'd like to commend to us today. 1, integrity in practice. We must once again become moral exemplars. Let our ethics be stronger than our ambitions. Let our word mean something again. Let it be oath to which we sow. 2, courage in advocacy. The bar must not fear to speak truth to power. It cannot be afraid to speak truth to power. When the law is defined by anyone, we must speak, and we must speak clearly, and we must speak without fear. We must defend the Constitution and confront injustice, even when the beneficiaries of disorder are among us. We must speak collectively and clearly. And let me make the point here, just in case it hasn't been made this far. It's not about the president of the bar or the national officers of the bar. We are the bar. All of us must collectively speak the word. We must all reject the impunity that is becoming a culture, no matter who benefits from the facts. And then we must be public service oriented. Every brief, every case, every opinion must serve not just a client but the cause of justice. The other day, the story was told of a counsel who was at the Supreme Court who had filed process on an issue that has been established without any equivocation by the Supreme Court. And it was just in order to have a case for necessary, purposes that appeal was filed. I wouldn't know what public spiritedness entered into the counsel of the appellant. But just as the appeal was called, counsel stood up and addressed the court and said he was withdrawing the appeal because actually the issue put before the court has already been established. The lawyers of Nigeria, the members of the Nigerian bar, we must lead this nation back to reason. We must lead this nation back to justice, back to governance anchored in law, back to integrity as the foundation of public life. We must ignore nothing. We must watch out for everything. Let us not be the generation that watched justice decay and said nothing. My Lord alluded to that in his speech, that in another few years we will look back and wonder, what did we do? Let us be the bar that found its voice again, that spoke truth with courage, that defended law with honor, and that restored the faith of a weary nation. Let us take our rightful place in this society. That, distinguished colleagues, my lords, my learned friends, is the true mandate of the bar. God bless the Nigerian Bar Association. God bless NBA Eket branch. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Please deserves not just a standing ovation, but a very strong round of applause. Please keep clapping for her. Please clap for her as she stepped down to join the rest of us. What a wonderful and impactful message in this era of our profession. Thank you very much, Mrs. B, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. My Lord, the Chairman of today's occasion, my Lords, we have come to the climax. That was the anti-climax, and now the climax of this bar week, where the Honorable Attorney General of Akwa Ibom State, will graciously accept to come and then officially open the bar week or declare the bar week open after a very short speech. Please, shall we together welcome the Honorable Attorney General of the United States, my own elder brother and mentor, to accept to declare this Barwick open session.
My Lord, the Chairman, Justice Itambaba retired, my Lords Judges of the Judiciary of Akwa Ibom State, the President of the Nigerian Bar Association, ably represented here, and the first Vice President, I will rest on whichever protocols you choose. I'm so happy I could make it to this event because I've heard two speeches that have really stirred the rebel in me. I grew up as somebody who was very rebellious to constituted authority. That I ended up a lawyer was a mystery and a surprise to many. Today, I feel I should hit the street with my colleagues and try to change things. I don't know if the Eket Bar really intended to stir our spirits in this manner, but whatever the intentions were, it's a great day today. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy that in our midst are two people who will be contending to lead the bar. And what they have set up here shows us that whichever of them ends up leading the bar, it will be a glorious resurgence of the good old days of the bar. The president of the Eket Bar approached me and said I was going to represent the governor, and I told him quite politely that the governor never asked me to represent him. And if you're familiar with political protocols, that could be a cardinal sin. As it happened, as I was about to get up waiting to be announced, the phone rang. And who would that be? The governor of Akwa Ibom State. I didn't know what to do, because if I were to step out to answer the call, he would be calling me and there'll be a go-slow somewhere. So I asked my Lord, Justice Mbaba, I showed him the phone. What do I do? And I'm going to blame him if I'm fired. Because he said, don't go, they're about to call you. But I think it's providence, because that means maybe I'm representing the government. Eket Bar has always been a great allure to me. It is this city that produced Mrs. Udom. And anytime I come here, they call me in-law. Thank God, Justice Sidion is not my father-in-law. So he cannot deny me here. And the greatest thing about coming from here is, you know, we have some very strange traditions in Akwa Ibom. If you are an in-law or you are a grandchild, you could just walk anywhere, pick anything, picking fruits in people's compounds. Nobody can touch you, because there's something about the in-law that is sacred. I have not tried to do that in Eket, because I hear Eket people can be very, very upset about certain things. My brother is like, I can come to your house and pick whatever I want. I'm an in-law. So this is a great day, and I'm sure that this, as we're about to commence this, well, maybe we did a program yesterday, it's meant to lead, and the flagship thing that you talked about is for a reason, like you said. So on behalf of the governor of Akwa Ibom State, I'd like to declare the 2025 the Law Week of the Eket Bar Association, Eket Bar, open to the glory of God. Thank you very much. Now let me go and talk to the governor.
call the representative of His Excellency the Governor. He has just flagged for me, my lords. We will be taking a group photograph. And that group photograph will be having a group photograph. We'll invite my Lord the Chairman of the occasion, all the judges of Akwa Ibom State High Court, the first Vice President of the can't see from there. Richard, please. Distinguished colleagues, is reclaiming people's confidence in the justice delivery. Reclaiming people's confidence in the justice delivery. The credibility of any justice system rests on the confidence that people have in its fairness, independence, and efficiency. In recent times, public trust in justice delivery has waned due to perceived corruption, delays, bias, and political interference in justice processes. Reclaiming people's confidence in justice delivery therefore calls for deliberate reforms that strengthen justice integrity, enhance transparency, ensure timely dispensation of cases, and promote accountability among justice sector actors. It underscores the need for collaboration between the judiciary, legal practitioners, law enforcement, and civil society to restore faith in the rule of law. Ultimately, rebuilding public confidence requires not only institutional reform, but also a renewed ethical commitment by all stakeholders to uphold justice without fear or favor. And to do justice to this paper, this presentation, we have very, very credible gentlemen of the bar and jurists who are ready to take on that topic and of course expose the potency of what is needed to enhance that sector as that topic comes to bear. Ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of this session is Lumuyiwa Kimbrough, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, who is also a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators UK. He is a life bencher and a notary public. And amongst the institutions of his attendance were the Children's Home of Ibadan, the Lagos State University. You're welcome, Nelson. Interesting. He has served as a judge of the Akwa Ibom State High Court Judiciary and is now retired, but not tired to impart knowledge on the legal profession and its members. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my lords and colleagues, join me and welcome the continuously erudite and wise Justice Ifeok Ukana retired. He is the lead speaker of this session, and he will be speaking on the topic reclaiming people's confidence in justice. Please, a round of applause for Honorable Justice Ifeok Ukana. Ushers, do well to escort him. Please, a round of applause for my Lord. Thank you very much. Please continue to clap for my Lord until he takes his seat. Thank you very much. Thank you so very much, my Lord. It's such an honor to have you with us. Thank you very much. We have experience of this profession, and they are all here to offer various contributory opinions that will help us enhance and bring this topic to very, very successful conclusion. Let me start by inviting one of the strongest pillars of the legal profession today, one of the strongest members, partners of the Nigerian Bar Association, and of course, in his right, a member of the body of benchers, the first citizen of Okwa State, former Speaker of Okwa State House of Assembly, former member speaking for the good people of the Tinan Federal Constituency, Right Honorable Onofiong Akwanliuk, to please accept to come up stage and also join the panelists with his wonderful wealth of experience and a very friendly member of this profession. Right Honorable Onofiong, welcome. Of the Eastern Bar Forum. He is the principal of Harris Law Firm, Harris Chambers. He has served in various capacities of the bar. He has also served as the former publicity secretary of the EBF. Today, he handles the administrative angle of the Eastern Bar Forum, a very strong member of the Nigerian Bar Association. He's been the former publicity secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association in your branch. And of course, a team player and a professional by his merit. He is also a lecturer in various fields in the university and is here to add value to this session. My lords, ladies and gentlemen, join me and welcome Samuel Akpadiara Obitu. Last but not least is a gentleman of repute who has served the NBA formerly as the first National Assistant Secretary of the Bar. He's a very prominent doyen of the Eastern Bar Forum, today section of the Nigerian Bar Association. And when you say okay, your answer is okay, is okay. He is here in person, and I'm referring to my very good brother, Oke Ohaba Esquire, first National Assistant Secretary, and currently the Secretary of the Eastern Bar Forum. The Nigerian Bar Association. You're welcome, sir. The team, the floor, the personnel, the jurists are here to add value to this discourse. Let me at this juncture hand over the microphone. We have some quiet. Can we have some quiet? Because this session is very important. The chairman will make a brief intro, and then the lead speaker, Honorable Justice Okana, will set the ball rolling, and then the members of the panelists will each take their turn to add value and make meaningful contributions to this subject.
Dear President, senior advocates here present, our colleagues at the bar, you are all welcome to the afternoon session of this law week. My name is Olomuyiwa Akimuro, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Life Venture, and the Chartered Arbitrator. I want to once again thank the Eket branch for making me the chairman of this session. The topic that we are here to discuss today is reclaiming people's confidence in justice delivery. And our lead speaker is my Lord Honorable Justice Ifeok Okana, retired. My Lord, you are welcome. I have with me on this side of the divide, Right Honorable Onofiong Akwanliuk, former Speaker, Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, and a member of the National Assembly. Thank you. Welcome. My brother, Oke Ohaba Esquire, is also here. Okay is okay. Okay is always okay. And last but not the least, my brother, Samuel Etuk, Secretary, Eastern Bar Forum. Welcome, my brother. Now, before I call on the lead speaker, I know that the lead speaker is very prepared for us, but this topic is more of practical than rhetorics. I think that the first lecture we had have taken care of the theoretical aspects of the discourse. Now it is time to put in the real works. What do we need to do to reclaim the confidence of the people in us? When the topic reads reclaiming, you know that tells you that something was lost. So, coming from that position, we need to know that we have lost something and we need to urgently reclaim it. The next speaker, my Lord, I will just want to urge you that you speak to the paper. I know that you all prepared. Please speak to it in 15 minutes. It's okay. Thank you very much, Lord. My Lord, you don't have to see the point is that you just have to stand there and give the order for a station of time. Because I don't think I have the capacity to go that order. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, discussant, Lords, the NLSN, members of the NBA, I'm happy to be here because I was here once. I will always come back. Reclaiming people's confidence in justice delivery. First, what is justice delivery? How was confidence lost? How can we regain it? Baron de Masnesco led the discussion on separation of powers. He developed and improved on the work of John Locke. And what was the rationale? Simply to ensure that power is not concentrated in one arm of government, which will lead to autocracy. That led to the innovation of the principle of doctrine of separation of powers, leading to what we now have in most modern democracies: executive, legislature, and the judiciary. The purpose of those three arms was that by a series of checks and balances, the interests of the masses were protected. What is the interest of the masses? Simplicity, good governance. Section 14 of our Constitution seeks to dwell on something like that. Government shall be for the purpose, security, and welfare of the people. But has it been so? We cannot say it has been so. 2 years ago, at the annual bar conference, at the annual bar week of Oyo branch, Obon Victor had posed a question. He was asking lawyers, what do you people do? How do you help court to decide matters? Tell me, what was decided in the case of Attorney General of Federation against Attorney General of Abia State and others? Obon was referring to the resource control case. And he said, in my discussion with the then President Obasanjo, I told him that there is no how the federal government can win this case. Because the boundaries of the literal state is the boundary of Nigeria. So how can there be dispute about it? But Obasanjo told him, I don't know what you are talking about over water. But I want to assure you that whatever is the case, the Supreme Court will decide that matter in favor of the federal government. Obama said, by the time the matter was decided, what the president told him came to pass. What was he saying? Many judicial decisions, the outcome of many judicial cases are already known to parties, some parties to it. In other words, the judiciary cannot be relied upon. That was the simple decision. But for us to deal with this case properly, who are the stakeholders in justice delivery? Every Nigerian is a stakeholder, first of all. Investigative and prosecution agencies are also stakeholders. EFCC, ICPC, police, DSS, the civil society, correctional center, and the judiciary. The judiciary occupies a pivotal position. But for us to reclaim, we must understand the role that each of these other organizations play. But the present state of all these institutions is one of tragedy as of today. I use the word tragedy seriously. Why is it so? Let's start with the police. A man takes a complaint to the police. After complaining, police needs to investigate. That investigation might involve transportation. Police need to compile a case file. If the case file is compiled, the matter will end up in the magistrate court or in the high court. The police has no fund to do any of these things. As the chairman of the NSAS panel in this state, I was privileged to understand how that the police functions on extortion and free will offering. The policeman that will move to investigate a matter has no vote. No divisional police station in this country has a vote to operate. So it's extortion. The complainant must foil. The complainant must provide money for fire. The complainant must now assist the prosecutor to go to court. If he's unable to do this, the man who was arrested languishes in custody indefinitely. Now, after investigation, if it's a serious crime, the file must be duplicated and sent to the DPP. The journey to the DPP is not an easy journey. That file will not leave. But recently, some police commissioners are frowning. Why case file should leave police to DPP? And they say, assuming the DPP does not recommend prosecution, does it mean all we have done is in vain? Why have they said this? They cannot imagine a situation where a person who was arrested, investigated, and not found to have committed any offense should be allowed to go like that. That is the justice delivery we have presently. Now, imagine a situation where an accused person funds investigation. What will be the call of that investigation? It cannot turn out well. When you talk of EFCC, ICPC, DSS, some of those organizations are very good. But in these organizations, there are people who serve interests that are not wholesome. There are very many. The structure of Nigerian society is that politicians have planted people in all these organizations so that most investigations are tainted. It cannot lead to wholesome prosecution. And people begin to lose faith. Now, if EFCC arrests a politician today, it's investigated. If you are watching to see how the case will go, you will sleep off. Because that matter is going to take 10 years. If eventually is convicted, expect that he will be pardoned in the next 2 or 3 years. Recently, a list of those pardoned was released. It was scandalous. Why? Some things have happened in between. If our justice delivery system is like that, can it attract confidence? No, cannot. The time cases spent in court is a problem. It's a problem. Whether civil or criminal. I was involved in a case as State Council Record Officer. That case started when I was a staff in Governor's office in Calabar. It lasted 30-something years. Sima was also a part of that case. In fact, at a point, he represented the first defendant. 30-something years. That case was not concluded. Ask Sima about that case. He will tell you the story. Because I took over from him. There are many of such cases in our course. Can we say that justice is possible under that regime? It's not. It's not. Now, why do cases last this long in our courts? Many of us here are tacticians in the day. I sat naked here when you ask for a date, I look at your face and I tell my clerk, don't give him, he won't come. He won't come. I began to make sure that dates were given based on those who will come and are eager to do cases. Many lawyers are not eager to do their cases. 2012, I was in a conference in Dubai. Justice Owens was there. By then they had retired. And he told a story about a lawyer who took a case from a community, attended court for more than 20 years. Nothing was done. He built his house from that case. He married his wife from that case. He sent his son to study law from that case. That son came to the chambers. When the father traveled abroad for vacation, appearing twice in court, he resolved the case. The client was happy. The father came back and quarreled with the son, telling him that it was this case that I used to marry your mother. It was this case that I used to build a house. It is this case that sent you to law school. You have killed me. Justice Owens told this story. Why did Justice Owens tell this story? In Dubai, we discovered that the oldest case was 6 months. 6 months. High Court in Dubai. And we tried to look at why that was so. We discovered the reason and returned to Nigeria. Justice Temison was in the committee that was to implement the findings that would have led to expedited determination of cases in Nigeria. Inbuilt in that arrangement was the deployment of electronic devices in our court. At a church service to mark the opening of the mega year, 3 years after, the then governor, Gospel Apollo, stood up and said, what concerns us shall be last said. In other words, deployment of electronic devices and other improvement will come later. Till date, it has never come. And I don't want to say it will never come. My prayer is, may it come. Your amen is even poor. This is how you do in churches. Now, you can imagine a judge sitting. If you are in New York, diesel is only available from 10 to 2. After 2 o'clock, it is put on. If the judge wants to sit till 3:34, it's personal to him. Now, when there is no light, how can you sit? How many witnesses can you take in a case? When you are drenched, sweating, it's limited. It's limited. I sat in Eket here, but for my club of water, Sam. And Sam used to bring his generator from the house, and we used the court. That's why I was able to sit the way I sat. Personal generator, official assignment. The story is not different across Nigeria. Apart from delay arising from infrastructural deficit, there's a delay that is brought by the court. In Plateau State against government of Nigeria, following the declaration of state of emergency in Plateau State under Obasanjo, Plateau State government then briefed Rotimi Williams, chief SAN, to file a suit. He died after filing that suit, and Professor Ben Robinson took over. Filed brief, argued, and voted for judgment. That case was decided in a crafty manner by the Supreme Court. I use the word crafty manner, I will elaborate later. So that case lasted 1.5 years. You will see a quotation in my lecture. Professor they argue that for Supreme Court to have kept that case for 1.5 years, it's a disservice to Nigerians. A constitutional matter will be decided speedily. And he took a discussion to Belarus. Confronted with a case similar to that, the Belarus Supreme Court sat day and night and within 1 week decided a similar case. In Rivers State, state of emergency was declared. PDP states filed an action. The governor was sent home, deputy was sent home, assemblyman was sent home. 6 months after, they returned. The suit filed in the Supreme Court has not been dealt with. You will never know why it was not dealt with. But the man on the street will believe that that court was not bold enough to look at the matter. Or rather, the federal government had pressured it not to determine the suit. Justice delivery system is based on confidence. When courts, apex court, appellate court, trial court sleep over people's cases, confidence is lost completely. Can the Nigerian judiciary be independent? Because the doctrine of separation of powers is designed to create an independent judiciary. The Nigerian judiciary, I don't want to say will never be independent, because some judges are struggling to be independent, and they are independent, but they suffer great pains and detriment for standing up to the executive or the legislature. I'm a victim. I was sent to Eket as punishment, but I make sure I enjoy Eket deliberately. In 2017, somebody in the executive, based on a position I took in the matter, sent a petition to EFCC against me. I was investigated for 3 weeks. Nothing was found. But that person could not go to sleep. He said, I will suffer till I die. When I came here today, I was trained by 4 SSS cars. That has been the pattern since 2017. I was in Port Harcourt 3 weeks ago. 3 SSS people followed me to Port Harcourt. 1 stayed outside of the hotel. I was at the bar conference in Abuja 2 years ago. The hotel I stayed, SSS people were there. As soon as I arrived at the airport, they know me, they follow me. The man who did this is now the Senate President. Gospel about me. When you talk of a judge being independent, he pays a price. He suffers alone. Whom do you appeal to? The structure of the NJC cannot deliver any judge. At times, the chief judge will sell you out, as it was in my own case. Because God in Abraham consented to the DSS doing what they did. And I confronted him. Until today, I confront him anywhere I meet him. Judges who are independent suffer quietly. They will not know their pains. Even today in the Bible, many judges are in pain, but they carry on as if nothing has happened. I was at Udo Street when I was still on the bench, because I go there to pick my papers. While there, a car drove past. It carried registration number of the judiciary. And I heard people say, government judge, government judge, government judge. And I got one of the vendors. I said, come, what is this? He said, okay, leave. You sleep in your house. That judge lives in government house. They put money in his car and he drives out. He doesn't know that the person who puts the money is known to us. They come and tell us whom they give money. This is the crisis in the judiciary. An independent judiciary may be a farce. Because it takes a person, it takes personal conviction to decide to do justice. The condition around us makes corruption very attractive. Why did we have conflicting orders in Rivers State in the recent past? Federal court will deliver this, state court will deliver this. You think those who were acting on their own? It flows from the manner of the movement of the bench. If your benefactor puts you there, throughout your state, you are doing the bidding of your benefactor. If your benefactor puts you in DSS, you are doing his bidding throughout. The same thing in the FCC. The same thing in ICPC. Now, if investigative agencies are compromised, what case will come before the court? What case? Highly compromised cases. Do you know that in Nigeria, there are those who have done nothing, but they have been caused to be investigated, they have been caused to be imprisoned for no just cause, and they cannot come out because their appeal will never be heard. Nigeria is a victim of state capture. State capture. What is state capture? It is a situation where the dominant political influence captures every institution that is meant to act as a stabilizer and render the country prostrate and available for looting. This is the tragedy of this country. The bar itself, which seeks to stand up and talks of the golden days of Alawa Kabasharum and others, is not free. There are moles within the bar. There were judgments I delivered and were taken to the governor's house, and a team of lawyers sat to look at the judgment for the purpose of knowing what to do to me and whether to appeal. And one of them, from what I gathered, he said, "Oh, Justice Ghana is wicked. What type of judge is this?" He knew that we would like to appeal. He made copious observations about the demeanor of witnesses. Only a wicked judge will do this, because he knows that appellate court cannot tamper with this area, and the area is so much. The power that we became annoyed with me. When I write judgment, I block appeal. Because a man who comes to testify in court and begins to think about his name is not a witness of truth. I must observe that it took him 3 minutes to say his name. It took him 4 minutes to say his date of birth. It took him 5 minutes to remember the name of his wife. That witness is always, I am entitled not to believe him. Either it's bad or no. If executive is the way it is, and the legislation is the way it is, can the judiciary help? You see, when you hear people spend so much time in Friday night, it is because they have seen that they are helpless. They have seen that they are helpless. They have reached the end of the road. What Eket has done with this topic is to see how people can be revived. May you revive so in Jesus' name. Now, how do we rescue? How do we begin to get confidence back? One, the bar must stand up to play a major role in the appointment of people to the bench, lower or higher bench. Correct. Unfortunately, the court again is a stumbling block. See my paper, you see a case I referred to. In that case, some members of MBO when he went to court, he said, this chief magistrate has so many petitions, corruption and fraud. The chief judge said, I will appoint whom I will appoint. They went to court. The judge said, You have no local standard. You can't bring this action. Action struck out. We proceeded on appeal. Appellate court. They affirmed the findings of the trial court. But in a dissenting opinion, Salah JCA showed us the way to proceed. He said, the second and third respondent in this matter are Attorney General and Government of Imo State. Attorney General would have not brought this matter, but I believe that these lawyers proceeded properly, having regards to the Legal Practitioners Act. We refer to two provisions of Legal Practitioners Act. I want you to read that judgment and go back and see how you can use those provisions to found an action against any corrupt person whom they want to smuggle in. Secondly, Nigeria, the apex court must be a little bit friendly. I thank God I'm not examined, so I'm not in danger, and I'm not looking for fancy, because that court will have stopped me. The conduct of Supreme Court and the conduct of certain courts does not convince confidence. During the hearing of Attorney General of the Federation against Attorney General of Abia State, I followed the conversation. The Buddha of blessed memory told the conversation, stand up, sit down. What are you saying? Stop that argument. The conversation was almost crying. It was dislegalized. Because the interest of the literal state was won. When a break was given, Shubanjo SAN, Falana SAN, who represented River State, Shubanjo represented Lagos State, they came up with a strategy session to go out of their way to confront the Supreme Court. Their manner of advocacy was different. It was compactive. I also watched Owoni Koko. Things are getting now. Yes. In the case of Yusuf, against Obasanjo, Supreme Court told Owoni Koko stand up. He stood up. See, we decided the same similar case last week against Obasanjo's presidency. Withdraw this matter. Owoni Koko stood up. Said, beloved, my client, MD Yusuf, is an educated man. Can you address him? This was before foreign journalists. MD Yusuf was the first head of the Nigerian Security Organization that became DSS. He stood up and said, beloved, if you want to give the same judgment as you gave in the earlier case, give it. Decide my case. I came here for a decision by the Supreme Court. You see, our courts are very careful. Because we don't know who is there. Harry Akonde against General Electric could not be enforced in the US. Because of what transpired in the court, the judge made some comments. Unknown to him, seated in that court, throughout the duration of the hearing of that case, was an official of the American Embassy who takes things that he used to frustrate the execution of that judgment in the US. Harry Akonde was a billionaire in Nigeria, for those who knew him, who is downtrodden. He's not happy with you as a lawyer because you have failed. If you are a judge, they are not happy with you because they have failed. There will be no room for a distinction as whether this is a good judge, this is a good lawyer. No. We shall all be attacked. And we will not die in the hands of our people.
Ladies and gentlemen, you see, this is the best way to know when the paper is delivered, whether the person that delivered the paper actually wrote it or written for him. I had the benefit of reading my notes paper beforehand. And I must say that it's recommended that all of us should get a copy of it and read it. What he has said is what I would describe as a summarized summary of the paper. The depth of knowledge embedded in that paper is sine qua non. And the experience espoused personally, physically, are things that is recommended for all of us to see. Please, let's get my notes paper and read it. You see, in the case of Edua versus Okorodu, which was also emphasized in Omiloju versus Anibire, justice is student in confidence, and confidence is destroyed when thinking people go away thinking that the judge was biased. Now, in the morning, we've had what we all know, the problem that is there. My Lord has brought it to the practical level, what needs to be done. After reading my Lord's paper, I drew up a little bit of summary of things that we discuss here. Now, we are now in the practical part of it. One, the first thing that I drew up from my Lord's paper is that we have spoken too much. There is talk everywhere, but it is now time for tangible action. The legal profession, two, the legal profession is sleeping, and we have a responsibility to make the public aware of their legal rights and do a lot of legal literacy and book advocacy. We need to readdress, thirdly, we need to readdress our issue of professional integrity and discipline. How do we improve access to justice for the marginalized? Another part that the Lord in the summarized summary was unable to bring to forth from paper is the role of legislative advocacy. How the NBA and how we as lawyers have neglected that role. He has spoken, as I said here, we need justice sector reform. In the sense also, he has told us how justice has been demonstrated in several areas and personally. So, what do we need to do? And the answer is religious advocacy. I will be asking members of the panel to try and speak on each and every one of these little deduction from the Lord's paper, so that we can have a practical direction of how to address this issue. It is fine enough that we hear beautifully worded papers that talk about what we know, but what do we need to do? We all know that there's a problem. We all know that confidence is eroded. We all know that lawyers and the judiciary, the bar and the judiciary, we are complicit one way or the other. So what do we do? I will start with my brother and friend life mentor, Honorable Idiaton Luke. Sorry, I'm trying to, because did I get it right? You don't feel Luke. You are big in the state House of Assembly. You are big in the National House of Assembly. The National House of Electricity. What do you think? Where do you think is the problem issue of law? Or as lawyers that are in the National Assembly, what do you think we need to do to assist us? We have not spoken in this paper about justice sector reform, what needed to be done. But what spoke in his paper about lack of funding, inadequate facilities. We all travel and we see how court operates. A lot of us are chartered arbitrators. We see facilities when we go on this arbitration expedition. So what do we need to do? Is there an area that our other parts of government need to come in on this? Thank you. 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, the chairman of this session. And I don't know what to do with the protocol, but I adopt an eclectic view and adopt all the protocol that has been established by all the speakers for this event. But permit me to recognize those who sit on the bench in my own state, who one way or the other have contributed to the person I am today, and for them to sit with us up to this moment. And then co-panelists. The chairman of the occasion, before I answer your question, a few comments I need to make. Number one, I want to say that we should consider, I consider reclaiming the public confidence in judiciary as a project and as a mission in my own thinking. And then by that, we need to look at what we have actually done today, looking at ways, manners, and strategies to execute it and achieve it. And I want to make this statement that we can only and we will achieve this by design and not default. And we will achieve this by clear choices that we make and not by chance. And what Eket has done under my friend and my brother in putting together this bar week and then asking us to interrogate that subject is a design, one of the designs aimed towards achieving the goal. The other one is the choice they have made. And I want to say this with all sense of responsibility. First, starting from the man that was brought to become the chairman of this opening ceremony. And secondly, the choice of other guest speakers, keynoters. Then I want to speak about those in the judiciary. Then speaking specifically to Justice Sukana, who happened to have worked with my father in the department of, as a public, state counsel then. I've known Justice Sukana for a long time. And why do I make this? That the choice of those persons is the fact that Eket Bar is serious in trying to get us to put forward a design that will build public confidence in the justice system. Justice Itam Baba has been like a foster father, so I speak from a point of knowledge. And I have watched him in performance of his responsibility. There are persons that have been brought to chair this event, talking about reclaiming the confidence of the people in the judiciary, and would have become a stock of laughing, a laughing stock of the society. Is that a man you are bringing to come and speak to us concerning this subject matter? Then the man, Justice Sukana, that choice is a clear choice that we truly want to regain public confidence, even as we begin here. Now in the design, yes, with due respect to it, I sit in the close quarters of this state. And I sit where state once I talk with more sense of responsibility. Because I want a better society. That's what I have championed for my state right from when I was a student non-government president in the university. And I still champion good governance. I sit at highest quarters of government decision. And government wants to take a case to court. And they are beginning to say, oh, which judge are we going to go to? I say this with more sense of responsibility. And they mention the names of them, say, oh, this one is probably going to dance to our tune. I say this because no judicial officer in this state can tell me that I've ever come to him to seek for a favor. Because one thing we must consider, if you, because of the privileged position you occupy today, you rig the system against an underprivileged person, consider when you will not be in that privileged position. The system will be rigged against one another. The policeman who, because of accidental discharge, kills a son of another because he's a DPO or a commissioner of police or an inspector general of police, will one day, having left that office, would have his child face that same institution that he rigged against another person's child. So why am I saying this? Number one, clear design in going forward is that those from the lawyers to the judges, we have to work from a point of conscience. There is no amount of rhetoric. Let us begin to practice for those in the Christian faith. You don't just go to church to begin to write sermon notes. Why we go to church and listen to sermons is how do we practicalize it. For instance, Philippians 4 verse 8 says, whatsoever is pure, whatsoever is just, whatsoever is right, whatsoever is of good report, think upon these things. And so if you leave the church after hearing the word of God, and you still come to think about evil, about your brother in the place of work, then you have not thought upon whatsoever is good. Then, to the point you asked me, sir, I speak from a position of authority as the immediate past, the chairman of House of Reps Committee on Judiciary from 2019 to 2023. Through the grace of God and the magnanimity of Right Honorable Femi Bajobi Amila, the Speaker of the House of Representatives. I know the things I tried to push, the reforms and the agenda I tried to push to position the judiciary so that it can gain the confidence of the public. Number one, I was not comfortable with most of the time that we get to talk with the president, myself, and my Senate counterpart, now the Senate leader, Senator Michael Oyemi Bamidele. We will go to the president and then the budget office to advocate, and the Minister of Finance to advocate for the increase in the budgetary provision for the judiciary. And we do that, and we come back, the judicial officers are still complaining of low pay. And we sat down to look at the budget one after the other. And we found out that the challenge has been that most of the money goes into infrastructure. Agreed. But how can we take care of the allowances of the judicial officers pending when we would have amended the act dealing with, the revenue mobilization, the political office holders, certain judicial officers enumeration act that will enable the increase of an upward review of the salaries of judicial officers. Can we, through the instrumentality of the office that is available to us, increase the allowances while we are still dealing with infrastructure? And to the glory of God, myself, and with the secretary, I must say this publicly, with the secretary of agency, Ahmed Gambo, who is pro-judicial officers' welfare, both living and working condition. They will make the budget to reflect this current reality. The other thing again too, we felt we had to do was we found out that most of the courtroom, like you said, lack technology. And so we pushed an agenda towards the retrofitting of courts, most especially federal high courts. And then we've done that in Lagos. We had one in Abuja to try to make them up to date. Those were part of the little achievement that we have to do. But there is a greater challenge. We must begin to ask the heads of courts. While they were serving as ordinary members of the judiciary, they were complaining about the way they were being treated. But the moment they assume the headship of court, the story changes. And so the head of court must begin to see their fellow judges, justices, as their brothers, and who are equally going through what they are going through. In this country, we have experienced what we never experienced in, I think, about 2020 or 2021, where the justices of the Supreme Court would come together and complain openly about their welfare. And came together to put it into black and white because they were not comfortable with the way that the head of court treated them. So all we are saying is that no matter the law, no matter the advocacy, no matter the agenda that we push, change begins with the way we look at ourselves and look at our fellow men. Those are the most solutions.
Thank you for all the efforts you have been putting in to make sure that we have the judiciary design. My brother, okay, it's okay. You have served in the Nigerian station up to the national level. You have had the lectures from morning till now. And You have also, I guess, must have read my Lord's paper. Talking of what kind of bar do you think we need to restore the confidence of the people? My Lord spoke about courageous advocacy. We always at every talk shop reminisce on the days of Alawa Kabasho. Are we packing? What is it that you think the bar needs to do and need to have in place now? Is the bar too connected with the executive? Are we too subservient to the powers that be? How do we detach the bar from the apron of the executive and make the bar speak clearly in support of the public? Thank you very much.
We share our keynote, our panel lead speaker. I thank you, my Lord, having me to start on existing protocol. You see, my view is very straightforward. I've read the speech of the keynote speaker, and there is one conclusion first: corruption that has eaten deep into the fabrics of our national democracy. My place, they say one finger catches red oil, it touches the entire fingers, and that is what has eaten deep into the judiciary itself. I don't think it's a question of conscience, like Honorable Onofio said. I think we need to set in place legal frameworks to forestall even your conscience, to make sure that you do the right thing. You see, my Lord talked about there are many judges in Nigeria who want to do what is right, who want to give independent opinions in their judgments. But no problem, go and give your independent opinion. The repercussions that follows thereafter, they suffer it, suffer till they die. And that is why I talk about it is not about conscience. It is about what legal frameworks do we have in place. And that I'm talking about foundational issues. Separation of powers. By separation of powers, the three organs are supposed to be on equal pedestal. Why is the executive appointing the judiciary? It's not time we start asking these questions. If we are not, if our system, if the corruption that has dealt heavily to our system will not allow us to still think independently, if the executive appoints the judiciary, then you must rethink that appointment process like what happens in the UK. In the UK you have the JAC, Judicial Appointments Commission, that handles every level of appointment to the bench. Why can't NJC be empowered to take full control, not to recommend to the governor? And the governor will say, I don't like the face of this person, this one. And you see, if you see girlfriends, let me use the language, being appointed to hold various positions in the bench. We must get out of that position. How did we get to this mockery notion we have in the country today, go to court? How did we get there? We got there because the system is no longer serving its purpose. Because they are pushing you to go to court knowing that you have no assurance of getting justice in the court. How then do we now start to ensure that the people who sit on the bench over matters that affect our life and our welfare are persons of impeccable character? Foundational, we must now see, it's no longer academic rhetorics. We come, we speak, we go. No, we must start to get to work. How do we amend the Constitution? How do we amend our laws to ensure that appointments to the bench, the executive, the judiciary, the legislation are on the same pedestal? How much does do members of the legislation take? What do we pay our judges? You say whether the judges are subservient. The answer is an emphatic yes. Our judiciary is subservient to the executive. And that is why the root cause is the law setting them up. Today, what is happening in Imo State, what happened in Imo State recently is another pointer that the executive controls the judiciary. I said in that basic words, where elementary knowledge tells us by the actor, where a judge is saying that I cannot grant bail because there is no charge. Therefore, so the accused person will remain there forever because there is no charge. Where is the justice? So there are a lot of things that we must start looking into, and that I said with that is retooling the legal framework, appointment into the bench. Then when you talk about corruption generally, reclaiming the confidence, all of us are stakeholders. The judge does not bribe himself, does not corrupt himself and use the language bribe. Yes. The lawyer, the judge, the litigant, all of us are stakeholders in ensuring that we have a system that is impeccable. And there must be intentional efforts to do what we call naming and shaming. If we, as a bar, we start naming and shaming the NBA branches in all the localities, we know the persons who are unfit to sit on the bench. So when the bar sets up a committee, justice monitoring committee, and who will be bold enough to confront the judges and say, my lord, in this bar bench, for my lord, you are not doing well. My lord, you are corrupt. My lord, if we don't have that confrontation, gentlemen, getting it right will be difficult for us. So I urge us to be more emboldened in fighting this hawk that is killing our system. And if we all stand up to fight it, we must get it right. Thank you very much.
My brother Sammy. Now, we all, it's like all force that the confidence in that system, their system is quite low. And then we have seen this has led to the emergence of alternative, what I would describe as alternative platform where people go to seek justice. I know there was about very dark man. In Abuja we have something like the family. What can we do? Practically, what do we need to do to make people have confidence in the judiciary, to build confidence? Like my speakers have spoken about, we need to retool the judiciary. My friend Eket has spoken about naming and shaming. And he spoke also about appointments. The bar has a big role to play in all this because everybody that gets to the bench was once a lawyer. So what are the practical steps that we need to take as a bar? And what do you recommend that the bar should focus on to change its narrative and rebuild the confidence of the public in our system?
The minds of everybody that wishes the best for our society. Though we keep talking about the bar playing a pivotal role in rebuilding the confidence of the society in our justice system. But I will tell you that the bar itself needs to purge itself. The bar is not clean. This is the only professional association that will conduct election and EFCC will go after people. That's the truth. We conduct elections, EFCC will go to court. What message are we sending? If we cannot clean our house, we cannot get people to believe in us. You cannot question the skewed recruitment system. Always skewed. Once they publish names of people to be appointed to the bench, you can sit down and say, this one is this person's slot. This one is this other person's slot. Because it is skewed. That's the reality of now. And nobody will believe. We had the case of declaration of state of emergency in Plateau State. The Supreme Court came up with a decision. When state of emergency was declared in Rivers State, judgment has been fixed for 31st of October. It becomes an exercise in futility. Members of the bench came from the bar. The Right Honorable former Speaker of the State House of Assembly did mention the heads of court being complicit. Yes, in my state, we have had lawyers of 3 years post-court being appointed over their seniors who were already in the magistracy. We have chairmen of district courts who go to courts on bike. What has the head of court done about it? Last time we talked about the customary court of appeal. What is the position of the bench in the state? So when we have situations like this, the confidence of the masses is eroded and they will resort to self-help. That's why very dark man of this world is more popular than the judiciary. Berekete family. People would rather get the Berekete family to address their issues rather than going to court. And recruitment system. I heard my friend and brother Oke Ohama talking about legal framework. The problem with Nigeria is not the date of the legislation. Weak institutions. That's why an INEC can conduct an election that is flawed and they will say, announce the result. If you are not happy, go to court. And you go to court and come back empty-handed. So I think before we talk about the bar helping in building confidence, the bar should purge itself. The bar should be ready to do the proper thing. We start in-house. He who goes to equity must go with a cleaner. Can you question the names of nominees to the bench when your hands are not clean? When even the heads of the bar are lobbying for their own slot. That's the reality of ground. So I think the reality is we have failed, the bar has failed. Can we do something? Yes, if we audit, a self-audit of ourselves. Why is said that? We have to go this way. We just want to be seen, to be popular, so that we achieve what we want. Once the bench is not proactive, like what is obtainable in South Africa, in the United States of America, we will not get it right. People will continue to avoid the bar and resort to very dark part of this world. Your money is show away, self-help. It's important. The laws are there. We should be able to question, but we cannot question if we are not clean. So we start from ourselves. The Eket bar has come up with this thing, very wonderful. We need to do a self-audit before we move. Because if we are clean, we can say, no, this man is a thief, he's corrupt. When the recruitment system is poor, you will have corrupt people. People who will dance to the tune of the executive. We talk about autonomy, financial autonomy for the bench. What do they do with these funds? The heads of court. I go to court. If you go to the courts in Eket, you realize that sometimes I just feel my Lord should say we should unroll, take off our robe. Why? Because that court there is no light. Why do we have to be in court and the court sits up to 4, there is no light? Is it that the executive does not give money to the judiciary? It does. So it is easier to sit as a judge and condemn. But when you get there, the music changes. We depend on the executive. The courts, the bench will rather ask for houses for themselves than improving the welfare of judges and members of the lower bench. You have members of the magistrate seat that are still driving old rickety cars. Meanwhile, the executive gives car to somebody that is just a supporter. You sing for the governor gives you a car. You have the opportunity to tell, the heads of courts have the opportunity to bring this to the knowledge of the government and make demand. But we fail. And when we fail, at the end of the day, how can we give justice to the man on the street? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before we go to the last bit, to the speakers, to our discussants, I want 5 members of the audience
talking in our courts. Just like my Lord rightly pointed out, there are so many cases that have spent more than 5, 6, 7 years.
Thank you very much.
Yes, by
today, I said one thing.
Yeah,
you have said today.
Yeah, my recommendation is one. There's need for time frame of our cases, just like election petition.
It still goes to delay. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, of the session. I want to say that we've identified several problems plaguing the judicial system, and one of these is that some of the problem itself is caused by lawyers. And I want to say that you've talked about shaming here, so there should be a mechanism to punish those who are responsible.
Disciplinary, there should be a disciplinary mechanism.
I think what the only justice system has said, and he wants us to follow the lane what we have to do and stand firm on it. But is something that disturbs me, which I know disturbs many people of this jurisdiction. And that is the mapping that was done by the last administration, which the present administration has, I don't know whether purposely or not, I would say.
So what is the pointer, the focal thing that you think you need to do? You see, you are supposed to have said it in seconds, but you are running into minutes now.
The solution, that is, I want the present administration in the state to implement that mapping system.
Okay.
I think one singular problem we continue to have has to do with the recruitment system. I always tell this story. When I was chairman of my branch, after a particular recruitment of magistrates, one of them that was close to me called me and asked me, where is the magistrate court? That just tells the story. So I think we need to get it right at the point of appointment.
Recruitment. Any other person? Please, ladies, this time around. Ladies.
Establishment of more judicial divisions of law.
Okay, strengthening the judiciary. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, let me first of all commend this speaker against the speaker. I know you did so well, and you were fearless in your presentation. I also want to thank the other discussants for making up time to make beautiful suggestions. I want to suggest that we should have a national magazine, national paper, where corrupt judges, corrupt lawyers, name will be published there and shared openly for people to read. Once this is done, people will refrain from these actions.
Thank you. I just want to, before we do 1 minute roundup, I want to tell you something. All what you have said now, I will take it one after the other, and I will tell you a few about it. We'll talk about the needs. There used to be a time where the NDA was strong enough that if courts are supposed to sit by 9, if lawyers wait by 10, the judge is not there, the lawyers will walk out. We remember those good days. So what's happening to us now? So, delay, we are complicit, the bar. We talk about disciplinary issues. Who are the people that go to the disciplinary committee? Lawyers, most of the time. Because the judges go to NDC. Now, in our branches, at the national level, how many times do we see our colleagues doing things wrong and we draw the attention of the bar of our local branch to it? So, at the end of the day, disciplinary laxity still comes back to us as lawyers. We talk about recruitment. I know that there is no time they want to recruit a judicial officer, that they don't write to the bar for comments. And there is no time to have the secretary of the bar. And I know that when such correspondence come, they send to localities, especially where they practice for comments. Some of these judges that we say they are bad judges when they are appointed, did they suddenly become bad? We should ask ourselves that question. You know somebody that has no capacity. You know somebody that maybe has a shady character. When they call for comments, are we commenting? Now, strengthening the judiciary, advocacy. What we all know, I'm going to agree that judges should be seen on our behalf. How many times have we gone to court and have we put it on paper or discuss it at our branch meetings? The deplorable state of our courts. As it being an agenda at our next meetings, so that there should be a communique on it and there be a conference on it
or maybe an advocacy position on it, and we've been doing that. And lastly, we talk about naming and shaming. It's the same thing as declaring. How many names have we submitted as individuals? So the ball is rests squarely in our course. What we are getting is the product of what we are given. So we need to reduce ourselves. So I want all of us to just give us one minute comments addressing all these issues that we ourselves identify, starting from Honorable Luke.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, while I was making my opening remarks, one thing I will keep talking about the conscience and the character and the personage of those who have been identified as stakeholders from the bar to the bench. Mr. Chairman, to show the challenge we have in the system today, you find retiring judges and justices claiming to become later-days activists on their valedictory speeches, advocating the things that they never did, the good they never did when they were serving. And so when I saw one of those in a forum of my callmate, and somebody said, "This is courageous," I said, "No, this is not courage. This is cowardice. Did you practice the things you are advocating for others today to do while you were in the system? Did you speak against them while you were serving? Why speaking against them now that you have left?" And on that very note too, I want to commend Justice Ukana that he is not seeking popularity and acceptability or accepting the confidence of the people having finished his tenure in office. Now we have challenges even in judgment, sir. Most times the judgment given by some judicial officers are not, most times, maybe when we have fault or error, might not be either of corruption, it might be lack of knowledge, proper knowledge of the law, still leading to this issue of the recruitment process. And so I love what the Nigerian Judicial Institute is doing, trying to educate our judicial officers on current issues, partnering with stakeholders. If it is in maritime, you see them partner with National Shippers Council. If it is within the banking sector, you see them partner with maybe a Chartered Institute of Bankers from Nigeria. So I want this thing to be drawn back to the states. As the states make laws by the States House of Assembly, so that the judges can be abreast with what is happening, the state has to partner with National Judicial Institute for these judges, for magistrates to be trained on these areas of the law that the state have already made laws in that regard. Finally, sir, somebody talked about the congestion. I agree with you. And that is why, as a chairman judiciary and even as a private citizen, which I am, I want to correct my lord, I'm not a free citizen, I'm a private citizen. I'm still advocating. As chairman of House Committee on Judiciary, I was at the forefront advocating for a division of the Court of Appeal for Uyo and Akwa Ibom State. And even today, I still do it. I visit the Court of Appeal and ask the state. And I thank God for what the governor is doing in the state. The governor is giving support to ensure that that happens. And so, with that, we would have brought justice back to the people, and then the court docket that has been congested in Calabar would now have been reduced, and our people have easy access to court. So, Mr. Chairman, those are my humble submissions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You see, in less than a minute, I will say just one thing, and that is, first, I am happy that the President of the Bar is here represented by the First Vice President. I say this intentionally because the Bar speaks for the bench. That is the training we received as lawyers. Even though that gesture is supposed to be a reciprocity, but I doubt if that is being reciprocated from the bench. I say that for a reason. But regarding to what happened, we are still refer. Now, one thing is certain. While we are waiting for the retooling of legal framework, we must be intentional about reclaiming that confidence. It is the bar that will reclaim the confidence. Every judge, before you become a judge, you're a lawyer. So the profession, the legal profession, the confidence in the judiciary, it is the bar that will go to reclaim it. And how do we do that? Bar bench forum strengthening. We must be strengthening bar bench forums. Ask yourself, senior lawyers who are here, the bar bench forums you have those days, are they still in place today? No. Today, you call for bar bench forum, the CJ will present a speech, NBA chairman will present a speech. Is that bar bench forum? That is not bar bench forum. Bar bench forum is for frank talk. You look at the judge in his eyes and say, my lord, there are a lot of complaints about you, about your court. We must start doing that as a bar. Somebody talked about having a journal. Yes, we can have monthly journal, both from NBA, the national, and from the branches. You compliment the judges who are doing good, because there are judges who are still doing state. You compliment them and talk about the ones who are spoiling the profession. Thank you very much.
Mr. Sametu. Thank you so much, sir. I still insist on the bar purging itself first, then interrogate the recruitment process. A bad judge is always a bad lawyer. When he is appointed, he becomes a judge. Judges, both at the lower bench and the higher, must be fearless, they must be proactive, and they must be progressive. So a lawyer that is not proactive, is not progressive, is not fearless, has nothing to do with the bench. Just like every other aspect of our judicial system, our justice sector must be overhauled. But only the bench, only the bar can help achieve this. The bar must be proactive, the bar must be progressive, and the bar must come out with clean hands. Thank you.
Finally, thank my Lord, Honorable Justice Ifeoma Okana, for the legal paper, very well detailed and very rich paper. My brother, life bencher, Right Honorable Eket.
Not like it.
Oh, you're not in that bencher yet. Don't worry. It's a matter of time.
Thank you, sir.
Okay is okay. Thank you for your contribution. Samuel, thank you for your contribution. You see, we blame everybody, even we blame ourselves. But the truth is that even in our own process, like I said, we need to examine ourselves. Now, even in the NBA, our recruitment process, how do we administer it? We use 4 lines as a determining factor. Now, what we have in the NBA now, how do you get your best man to represent you? When the issues are always either you're a man, you're a woman, or you belong to a young lawyer, or is a senior lawyer. You see, all hands need to be on deck. You can't wish away to juniors. Why do you just have wish away to seniors? At the back, we are all gentlemen. What's this unnecessary division? We only achieve something for us, weakening our institution, weakening our bar, and making it very irrelevant. We are talking of lack of confidence, loss of confidence. If we are not careful, we are going to see. My Lord said something about when they come for all of us. See, unfortunately, look at all of us, dressed in suit, impeccable. Nobody will believe that you are not sending money if there's a crisis. Because they will look at how can this man be neat. You see, your gate man, your security, don't think they are your best of friends. They are there because of what they are getting from you. If there is a crisis today, they are the one that will lead people to you and identify that this is one of them. Are we truly one of them? Are we truly one of them? But because of our lifestyle, because of our demands of our profession, we need to carry ourselves in a certain way.
The lawyers should treat themselves well. You need to carry yourself well. People think it's equal to success or money. And success now is so negatively described in our system that you must be connected with fraud to be successful. Nobody believes that you can be successful without being fraudulent. So we need on our own to be intentional about all these things. God forbid that there be crisis in Nigeria. I'm telling you, most of us cannot run. So I wish you all the best. I thank the Eket branch for this very important discussion. I know we are going on well enriched. I have been enriched, and I thank you for this opportunity. Thank you very much. The section has come to a close. Please a round of applause for the God and the members of the panel.
Thank you so much. The picture session, just as we are. While I invite the president of the NBA, the chairman of the branch, chairman of the LOC, chairman of branches, the former governor of the Eastern Power Forum, please join us. Let us see. You can please come up, please. Eket, please come up. Come up. Like I told you, this is your successors program, and so it is also your success by extension. You're welcome. Please come up. Please come up. Let's stand in the Lord's prayer. It's been a very wonderful session. Interesting panelists and other judges, chairman of the NBA branches in our Akwa states, Leonard Silk, former chairman of branches, former secretaries, members from other branches in our Akwa states, friends of the bar, and everyone that made out time to be here with us to partake in the opening session and the first plenary. We really appreciate you for honoring us today. We cannot thank you enough. On behalf of the branch, we say thank you. We appreciate you a great deal. We cannot forget your sacrifice to make this opening ceremony and the first plenary session a success. Can only say may God bless you. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we have the second plenary session on continuing education. We look forward to seeing you. You can't afford to miss it. As you journey home, we pray the Almighty God to grant you journey mercies to your various destinations. No bad news shall be heard concerning any of you in Jesus' name. For our members, lawyers, we ask that you endeavor to turn up tomorrow on time, and as you show up, ensure that you pay down your name and all necessary details. And please access your emails. Access your emails. It's for your own good, so that you are on the same page with us and ensure you earn points for yourself. Thank you so much. God bless. Have a nice and safe journey home.